Hello and welcome to the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined once again by Sean Newsham, PSU2, to talk about stacking. Sean, do you take credit for not like inventing stacking, but having it become part of the nomenclature, if you will, of Sorare?
I think I'm the first person that brought it to the attention of people, right? Would you agree with that? Like, I would say I was the first person to bring it to prominence.
I think that the first like public conversations about it, but it also feels like they were different conversations than just like, oh, Bayern have five really good players, play them. But it was actually your, hey, want to beat people with a lineup that no one else has every so often? Welcome to the Chicago Fire.
Yeah,
And that conversation I don't think had been had, at least like in in as much depth as we did back then.
yeah, it was definitely that was the start of it. Was like I can't because at that time I didn't have the expensive dudes, and I couldn't really compete with the expensive dudes in terms of that. But what I could do was find a way around it, and the way around it was stacking because you would hope that those teams would hit once in a while and they would really just explode and have a big game.
Yeah.
And if they did, no one else is going to have it, and it could sort of propel you ahead of the situations where everyone else has um, the other the other players. So it's it definitely started there. I think from there, it's taken its own mind and sort of okay, everyone's just like, let's stack. And everyone realized it's a lot simpler to just stack. It's a lot you can remove much brain power in terms of what you have to do. And stacking is a lot simpler of a process than just knowing a lot of different people. So I think that there's that as an option, but I still think that stacking is viable. I think it is less viable because what happened was back in the day when we talked about it, collections didn't exist, wasn't a thing, and a lot less users, a lot less card supply of players,
Yeah, there
and
were no limiteds.
there was no limiteds, and it was just a much different thing. And so what happened is at that time, I think stacking was a very good option, and I still think it's fine. But what's happened is people overreach on stacking now, and they stack despite making an inferior lineup just to stack, and that's not necessarily the move.
I think there's a lot that goes into that. And part of it is collections, which we'll get into in a second. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Ryan Walter said second, where is Bob? I actually didn't see a first. Andrew Mooney said, so this is how you get a podium 2 hours early. Let's go. Josh Shaw, excuse me, third. So congratulations to the three of you on the podium. Peter said, I've never won with a stack, which I don't know if that means it's impossible, but Peter does win. Peter does win. Congrats, Peter. $1,500, Sean, by Peter here in Challenger Limited this weekend.
That's nice. I like it.
Stefan, what's up? Kev Hurd. Ander said, I've never won without stacking because I've never won. Oh, all right. Tuggy said, them Everton stacks look good this weekend. Did anybody win first place with Everton? I don't know. Ricky said, I love stacks, but have found I'm using full stacks less now that the game format has changed. Shoshik said, not really part of the topic, but what do we expect from the Discord announcement about adjusted essence quantity in boxes overall? I think adjusted is a good word to use when you reduce something and you don't want to say reduce out loud.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, do we want to talk about that quickly?
let me finish everyone, and then yes, we can get into that. Ahmed, what's up? Well, I came 1 second with a Gala stack. I mean, that can work sometimes. Palma said, what a terrible H&L special. I can't believe how bad that was. Thought I made solid choices. Just turned out top three. All struggled. Main guys didn't turn up. Did you enter that one, Sean? The Croatian
No,
League special?
I didn't have cards for it.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dirk agreed. Smash the like button. Just Mike it. What's up? Philly Dilly. Mike Bastin. Jamie said, the only stacking that works for me is pancake stacking. That's a great line. Shout out pancakes. Shaforko, what's up? Mike Basson, how many cards count as a stack? That's a good question. Anyway, sorry. Everyone's here. Sean, let's talk about essence. What do you think?
I mean, so here's the thing. I think too many people were just ripping at 20, and they were giving away way too many cards. And they are doing this to combat that. They didn't think people would wait. I don't think they thought people would just rip at 20. And
The degen underestimation is just amazing.
it's not even degen underestimation. I think it was like, I think ripping at 20 was the best option, like for almost everybody. Like I really do. So I think they just didn't think people would rip at 20, and people just literally, I think almost everyone was just ripping. And that caused them to be like, oh shit, we needed people to wait up 500 essence and then give a tier. So what they were doing is they were just burning through like all their cards, especially low end cards. Like they were just burning through loads and loads of cards. And so they are correcting that, which, to be fair, hey, it was always sort of thought at that they were going to like have to adjust it, right? Like, it was never like, this is the long-term essence plan, it will never change. So they're going to nerf it. This is them saying they're going to nerf it. I think it's weird that they are like, hey guys, we're going to adjust it, and we're just not going to tell you how. And I think that's weird. That, to me, that's weird. What I do like, and we've talked about in the show, I like that they are bringing out the idea of more like jackpot type of essence hits. I think that's a good idea. Like just having like that 1% chance at like hitting a 500 essence, like at the expense of some, like it's going to be different. So I think instead of like seeing like 20s, 10s, 5s, 3s, and 1s, like we're going to see a lot more like, we're going to see like 1, 3, a lot of those 5s, 10s, very few 10s and 20s, and then like some 50s, 100s, 250s, maybe something like that. Like I think we're going to see stuff like that. And that's pretty cool. I think that that is a good situation to be in for that. So like that's a positive from it, but like I just wish they would tell us like, hey, what we're doing.
The other big one that I noticed that they announced was that there will no longer be level ups in Division 1, which is really nice.
That's a good adjustment too, because like I tell you
Yeah.
what, if you like, I finished like first in like Bundesliga D1 and got 2 level ups. It's like that sucks.
Yeah, that's a killer. I like that part. My favorite part of the release, and if anybody hasn't seen this, it's on Discord. This was like the announcement on Sorare. So please note, this season we'll be rewarding even more cards than in previous ones. Really screams of, we've already given out way too many cards, but let's celebrate that we're giving out too many cards. Anyway, those will go into effect for this weekend game week. So the reward box is distributed on Tuesday, October 29th, which is a week from tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day that we are streaming. But yeah, I think it's good. I celebrated this by getting relegated from 3 Division 1s this week in each scarcity. So that was great. I just had a horrific game.
Yeah, I think I probably am going to be getting relegated quite a bit as well. I didn't look, but like Challenger was a bit difficult with MLS having a lot of just rando games that didn't matter.
Yeah.
And also like coming back off an international break with Champs League in the midweek and stuff. There's a lot of relegation spots, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I looked today and it was like, oh man, like I only got relegated from Division 1. Like there was no other spot. It just seemed like my worst lineups were in Division 1 this week. And I went in on Friday quite confident. Josh said, I assumed with all the auction essence promos, they would have a lot in the bank. It seems poor to reduce it now after that. I do wonder if the essence calculations were redone when they were like, maybe we should put the reward boxes in season, because like initially they weren't. And I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anion said, I think instead of reducing the amount that they should make, excuse me. I think instead of reducing the amount, they should make it guaranteed to be at what threshold you craft. I like the steady supply of essence. I mean, it's one, they're the same thing, right? Like you either increase the thresholds or you reduce the essence. They equal the same thing in terms of fewer cards being distributed.
Yeah, I think with the essence, they like expected people to craft at different levels, right? Whereas like I'm pretty sure it was like 90% at 20, 0.1% at the next level. Well, no, next level probably got like a couple percent. And then like the 100 and 250 level, like 0.1% each. And then like the stars, I mean, a couple people waited for them, but like not many. So like it just like, I think they thought it would be a more even distribution of when people would craft.
Mm-hmm.
and that's what like they were depending on, and it just wasn't. And people just are like, I mean, I've crafted a 20 since the summer, pretty much, like except for one time, but like yeah, I'm pretty much just crafting a 20. I just think it's the best option. So I think that was sort of the issue with it.
I still think it depends on what type of essence you have.
True.
Like me crafting, I mostly play Challenger and Contender, and I probably have more success in Contender, which means I have more Contender essence. And like even a tier 1 Contender card is just not that great. And so like crafting, like the number of cards I would craft that are legitimately worthless just feels like the waste of essence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I get it. At the same time, like you're gonna get a Contender card anyways, and like getting in season cards at the beginning of a season is still more important than getting them at a latter point in the season, I think. And if you get one decent card at all, like it just helps propel you a bit. So yeah, I'm not sure. It's again, like I said, I think we were under the impression that it was going to be adjusted. Like we thought that there would have to be an adjustment. Like it was never set that that's like, okay, this is going to be the essence situation for eternity. Right. So, I think that it's pretty reasonable that that's the approach that they did. And they probably needed to see some information from it too, to like see who was interacting. And once they did, they made the adjustment, which like, I don't blame them for that.
Yeah. And we don't know how they have adjusted it yet. I just went to like look at the game week, and clearly they haven't updated it because Division 1 still has level ups. So we don't know what it is. I don't know.
29th, so
it's next
midweek.
It's next weekend.
No, it's next midweek.
It's distributed on Tuesday. So it's like the rewards that are distributed on the 29th, which
okay.
Yeah. Game week 21, which is this weekend, like coming up.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll see. Maybe after like the midweek deadline comes, we'll see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about stacks, because we see a few people talking about it. Sorare Josh says full stacks are inefficient now with how affordable AAA matchup guys are on a week-to-week basis. The only excuse to full stack now is if you haven't gotten the time to scout or buy regularly. Sorare So Spursy said Spurs' inability to keep a clean sheet shows that stacking doesn't work. Actually, remind me about that, because I do want to talk about the goalkeeper defender stacking. We'll get to that. Surface said we were stacking Mignolet. Is it Mekele?
I think it's like Mekela, or but like I call him Michel. Like, but yeah, I think it's like Mekela.
All right, Mata Vanakin in 2018 with a rude boy too, but some of that was because there were so few cards, and we weren't talking about it publicly on a podcast. All right, so that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, if you stacking when there are like 13 teams on the platform, not even that many. Anyway, let's see. Mike says D2 in-season EPL is first as things stands, meaning Mike is first.
That's good.
There we go. Malky said stacking is a way of supporting your team even if it's suboptimal, and it's a way of playing the game if you are short on time. You know what's funny is I don't think the team knows that you're doing that.
They don't, but I do understand what he's saying. Like that, it is a way to like, hey, I'm a Man U fan, I'm gonna stack them and then lose because they suck ass. But I do agree with that. Like it's a way for you to like, hey, I'm an Everton fan, I'm gonna stack Everton, and if they ever go off, like I'm gonna have a super fun weekend. Like Derek the Ledge, I remember him like smashed with like a Napoli stack. Or no, he's Georgian. If I remember correctly, he's Georgian. And had his Georgian stack like win a midweek international situation. And it's like, hey, he's Georgian. He really enjoyed this. It was a super awesome experience for him. A lot of it because he was Georgian, because they smashed and he got to win it with his guys. So I definitely do understand the point of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Harry ran his whale stack in last midweek? I think it was last midweek. And he was all about it. He loved it.
Yeah. So I do get that. I think that makes sense. So can't fault that at all.
Yep. We've got a ghost here that says, I've only won with stacks in summer midweeks, which that's like the few game midweeks that we used to have.
Yeah.
Were just the perfect stacking times.
The best were the like Champs League play-in game type stuff where it was like there's like two teams and you just like win. And it was like, okay, cool, I just win. And you get to run your stack. And it was like, if you don't have the stack, those cards are pretty much useless for the week. Whereas if you do, it's like, nice, you just win on by default.
That was literally the reason why I first bought into the Midtjylland collection, because they had like champs or Europa qualifiers for 13 straight midweeks. And I was like, let's go.
I remember the 1 year, 2 years ago, I think it wasn't this year, it was 2 years ago. It wasn't like this past year, it was the one before. So it was like 2.1 years ago or whatever. And Harry and I won like All-Star or U23 Rare Plus like 4 midweeks in a row. Like it was just like I won, and then Harry got second, and it was just flipped back and forth because there was nobody playing and we just had the cards and nobody had any cards. So it was like literally like each week there was like 5 rewards, but they were giving out a star, and it was like there was like 4 lineups that were worthwhile. So Harry and I were just like trading back and forth wins because we just had the best cards at that time. And it was like I won like 2 Nico Mantles at the time, who at the time was worth like 0.4 ETH. And I was like, hey, this is fantastic.
Yeah, that is one of the things that like I miss from the like with this new gameplay, and that's something that like Andy always talked about. Like we would have those like Liga MX Island midweeks, and it's like if you had a stack, like hey, you're gonna win because they're just not like somebody was saying. There's so many AAA players now that are affordable. Like if you have these kind of random game weeks where there're just not that many teams, and now there's really no place to play those cards.
Yeah,
like you need to have 10 licensed teams, and even if there are 10, the rewards themselves aren't that good because those are based on like it just felt like there was a time where the rewards were like so much better than what we were actually playing that game week.
Yeah.
And so you could win it. Yeah. Anyway.
Someone just said, another ghost said NBA Essence is very low. Expected box between like 1 and 4 Essence. I would assume football is going to follow suit. I would assume that you're going to see a pretty heavy decrease in Essence being given out in football. And Little Lettuce said Mantle is now in Aruca in Portugal. Well aware, since I have like 4 of them still.
I like this. Jasper said the real question is the Real Madrid stack worth having? Philly Dilly said the Real Madrid stack is super valuable because you can sell it for a Barca stack and have some left over.
True, that is valid. At some point, I think Madrid is going to figure things out to some extent, and it'll be better. But till then, could be a little bit rough. The issue too is like Courtois is still nice and net because he just has good AA, and like when he does keep clean sheet, he puts up like 80 to 90, which is just difficult to overcome.
Yeah. I'm going to address all the questions about the NBA lineup, the NBA stuff on Sorare Data. That we'll have an update later, not during this show.
Also, just to be clear, since I saw MB post about it, and you do not pay for NBA.
Also true.
Nobody pays for NBA.
Nobody pays for NBA.
So that's
not true. Sorare Data pays a lot for NBA.
Yeah, but none of you or anyone else in the world as a user pays for NBA or MLB. It's never been the case. It's always been free.
True story. True story. Apparently the November special event calendar just dropped.
We'll have to pull that up. Yeah, you pull that up while I respond to Brones. I don't know if they'll have a full jackpot because it depends how much they nerf it by. I forget the old numbers where it was like 5% for 20 essence and stuff. But like if they nerf it by a good amount, it's gonna be hard to have like a full jackpot. But it looks a lot better if you give like a full jackpot. You give like a full 500. But maybe they won't do a full 500. They'll do like 250 because you might already have essence built up, and giving a full 500 would be kind of an issue when it comes to that. So Vita said we were supposed to have the calendars 1 month in advance. Yeah, that is a typical. That's like when Sorare used to say they would give like cliff notes like once a month, and it just like stopped happening, and it like started to go like further and further back, and then it just like disappeared entirely. So yeah, that's an interesting one as well. So let's take a look at this calendar here, Laird.
All right, we've got Cap 260. Okay. That is a weekend. The French specialist.
Question before we go here, real quick, is the odd or even weekend?
Odd is weekend.
Okay, odd is weekends. Okay.
Yep. So we have Euro champions, and then like Champions League and Europa.
Okay.
And All-Star that game week.
Okay.
Premier League select your target to get Essence.
Yeah, that's not interesting to me. I don't know. The select the targets is not very interesting to me personally.
Well, that's where they have your jackpot essence payout. Like somebody got, like a Gator got 200 essence last game week.
That's not what my point of having jackpot essence is.
I know. We got anti-stack, which also is this coming weekend, and who knew? Anyway, international nights for a midweek with All-Star. This is
we have another international.
It's an international break. Yep. Shooter special, which I feel like we should rebrand that one. But anyway, shot on target worth 8 points.
That's cool. Those, I mean, I've literally historically smashed everybody in those. So like those type of contests are nice to have because typically I do well in them. So for me, they're nice.
We have the, I believe this is Catenaccio. Extra defender, excuse me, extra position is defender.
Okay, so it's just no extra, it's just a defender.
2 defenders. Fine. We have a Serie A special. Back to European champions. Flying goalie. No fixed position.
What? So that means I just don't have to play goalie.
Flying goalie. Unleash your creativity and build a 5 goalkeeper. Yeah, just the opposite. Just the opposite. Waste 5 fucking goalies in one lineup.
Guys, we got Laird fired up, baby. We got Laird fired up. He's pumped.
There is nothing. Oh.
Best part is it's not during overlap season, so like you're just gonna have less goalies as a whole.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Everyone was saying it says if. Okay. Unleash your creativity. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Apologies for swearing. I didn't read fast enough.
Laird was
my bad.
Laird was fired up. So basically what they're saying is that you can play 5 forwards if you want.
Yes.
Okay.
I think if you play 5 goalkeepers in a lineup, you should be thrown off the platform.
What if you only have 5 goalkeepers?
And that's what you play?
Yeah.
No. Out.
That could actually be a pretty good spot because you can just like play the best 5 cards, period.
Yeah.
And like that, and like some people probably are not going to do that. So like depending on what the rewards are, that could actually be pretty interesting.
I mean, everyone was like that. Depending on the rewards, they could be interesting. Like who knows? What are the rewards for these? Oh, pro cards. All right.
Yeah, I mean that typical they only give really money for like
yeah.
some other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great.
Oh, well, thank God they are only making you have 3 super rares for that. That's cool, except for when you get to the international and the European stuff, it's 4. 4 is so ridiculous at the unique level. Like, and this comes from me who doesn't even play it, but like 4 is a lot.
This is interesting. For multi-entry, you can have 3 except in All-Star, Anti-Stacks, Cap 220, and Cap 260, where you can only do 2.
Okay.
This first test will allow us to improve the reward box content and extend the reward tail to 20% instead of, wait a minute.
Whatever.
Oh, because they only do 10 right now for specials. I forgot about that.
Oh, whatever.
While encouraging managers to prioritize higher quality lineups. Who doesn't prioritize a high quality lineup?
No, some people still run as many lineups as possible instead of like their best possible lineups.
Rikamon said the shooter special being an international midweek isn't great.
Yeah, well, they keep doing these random specials in the international midweeks. Like they're doing like cap mode where it's like, guys, you don't have guys that have like hits that are like 40 that you can play them because the international players are typically good players on good teams a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And they score well. Like they're not just like turd bags in a lot of spots. With like a few exceptions, obviously, but it makes it really difficult when you put super strict restrictions on midweeks where it just doesn't exist. So French specialist, like it's not even just a French lineup, it's a French specialist lineup.
And they changed the requirements from this past game week's specialist, which was 2 players of 50 below, and this one's 245 and below.
Yeah, well, there's in the individual leagues, like that's more doable, obviously. I was in first for a while in specialist super rare this week, Laird. When Cherokee got an assist, the last touch of the game for him, I was in was in first. I fell him down to fifth. I probably will. I'm in like so many bubbles too, like or just like outside of prize, like card prize pools in this week. Like, I wonder how many relegations I'm gonna get this week, because that seems like I probably am getting a lot. I'm going to check.
Ryan said French specialist anti-stack greater than L60. It looks like they took every suggestion and said yes to all of them.
You're not wrong. It does feel that way a little bit, which is fine. Whatever.
Yeah. Brun said, I recently looked at my roster prices on Sorare data and found some valuations were massively off. It took last public sale, even when there were regular auctions after that. Seems off now. Bruns, I would say just contact support at soraredata.com with some examples. The only thing I will say is that on that page, there is a difference between in-season and classic. And so, like, your recent classic card, maybe, I guess it could be higher. I don't know. If it's super rare and unique, then it's going to be wonky.
Oh, man, yeah, I'm definitely getting relegated in quite a few spots this week. Not ideal, Laird. Not ideal.
This was like the worst game week I've had in a while. And man, I was so excited for this game week.
Yeah, I did. It definitely got relegated quite a few spots that I wouldn't have wanted to get relegated in.
I will say that I said this to Harry on Saturday, and it only got worse, but I think I had more negative decisives this game week than ever.
That's not good. How about like this? Like, all right, my challenger players, right? Like like my challenger super rare is pretty good. I had 0 D1s this week. Like when the week started, super rare, like classic D1, I had 0. I am luckily getting promoted as of now twice, but like even that, like I'm not sure about the case, but like, yeah, like I'm like, oh my. It's like my lineups are freaking bad. I had none there, and I was like, even like the classic levels at rare, I was not there either. Not pretty weak at all.
How about this, Sean? I got promoted in Prem Classic, La Liga Classic, and Champ Classic.
Nice. I got relegated in lots of those spots.
So let's get back to this stacking thing, because the one thing I wanted to Bronze, you can now easily see the relegations on Sorare on the team overview at the top. Just what I was looking for. I want to talk about goalkeeper defender stacking, because I had an instance this week where I was going to split two that I will mention in a second. And it may have been a bit of a special circumstance why, but I tend to play them together. But it was Mignolet and Maxim de Kuiper, or Cyper, I don't know how you do it. So I was going to play him in U23, decided to play them together. Mignolet ends up having a terrible game. De Kuiper has a fantastic game. And I think to myself, do I really need to pair them together? Does De Kuiper really need the 10 clean sheet points to make the big difference that when they are together, like, does it actually just pay off enough or not?
I mean, probably, but also I think it's okay to play separate, especially like the fullbacks that, like, when their team is down, it means that they're likely doing more things in the final third because they're pressing to get back in the game, which can be good or bad. But like, if it is good, like, it can lead to a pretty high upside game because it leads to a lot more decisives.
The way that I think my strategy for goalkeeper defender stacking may be, like, I may have convinced myself that it's more optimal than it is, and that the convenience makes it better than it is, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think it does still matter, because if you do get a clean sheet, like, it is still a huge leg up, right? The issue is you're looking at it from a perspective of like, when I don't get the goalie clean sheet, but when you do get the goalie clean sheet and De Kuiper gets that extra 14 points that he doesn't get when you don't get the clean sheet, it does add up, right? Like, it does matter. So I think it's difficult to fully look at, because you don't only look at the times where it works, you look at the times where it doesn't, which isn't the point, because when it doesn't work anyways, your goalie sucks, you're probably not going to do very well anyways. Whereas, like, if the goalie does get a clean sheet, puts up 70, and the defender starts with an extra 14 points than they would in other scenarios, like, it can be really beneficial.
Tom asked this question. I was going to be kind of going here. Tom said, it depends if your defender has a good chance of attacking output, right? Which, like, De Kuiper certainly does. And Vita said the center back goalkeeper makes sense, but a goalkeeper left, fullback, wingback, maybe not as much.
Yes. Also, like, there's times too, like, let's say Bayern concede like 2 minutes in. Well, you can feel pretty confident that so much more of the rest of the game is going to be played in the other team's final third, where like those center backs are getting a lot more final third passes, a lot more passes in the opposition half, like a lot more of those type of things. We'll call it the Ajax special. Like the bread and butter for Sorare is still like those defenders getting those final third passes and long passes into the final third, because like it's like 1.5 points every time you get it. So like if they're just sitting there and hitting that pass, that pass from the center back to the fullback, like at the not the edge of the box, but like out on the sideline near the box in the final third, like the very uncontested basic pass. That's the print fest. That has always been the print fest on Sorare. It used to be bigger, but like that's the gold mine. That's where your defenders get, because those points are super simple to get. And each time you make that one pass, you get like 1.5 points, and there's like no risk to it at all. It's just like, it's a basic pass.
Yeah, it's not like a take on that you could lose the duel. Correct. Or like.
So if your defender is gonna, and then the other one is where you have like a fullback that is not just like fully lumping the ball into the box, but he's like playing little 1-2s with the winger in the final third, where it's just like half a point, half a point, half a point, half a point. Oh, 1 in the box, 1 point, whatever it is. So like there's teams like that where you can look and be like, if they do concede, a great example is, and I've said this the whole time, like if PSV concede, like if they concede like 10 minutes into the game, Boskagli is getting 100. Like he's just going to get like close to 100 because he's just going to pass the ball all game and he's just going to make defensive actions. So they conceded, they were away to AZ this week and he had 75 points. He had 104 passes for 8.3 points. He had 38 final third passes for 15 points. He had 9 long balls and 14 long passes into the opposition half. Those 3 categories alone for Boskagli netted him 35-ish points.
It's crazy.
Like that's what you want. But the issue is like, so they conceded. Let me see when they conceded in this game. They conceded. They actually conceded literally in the 90th minute. But like, if they conceded in like the 15th minute, they actually conceded. Well, up a man too. That's unfortunate for PSV. But like,
I had some team do that. Oh, Genk.
No, Genk's the kings of that. Genk does that for years. Genk for years is like, if Genk has a chance, they're like Porto. Porto's up in the 95th minute, and you need Costa to hold a clean sheet. Just that's done. You're not getting
no more dangerous place to be.
But like it's just like those are the type of spots, and like AZ away is like a bottom 3 matchup in the Viability for PSV. Like, and Boskagli just prints. Like, look at Flamingo, 97 passes, 14 final third, 13 long balls, 18 long into the opposition half. Like that's 28 points for him from those. Like they're just pure print fest where it's just like you're gonna get those points pretty much no matter what. And that's just like why those type of guys are really good. Like, and so in this situation, like if Benitez gets a clean sheet, he gets 65, 60, 68. All right, that's cool. But like any other goalie can match that. Like if you play a different goalie, like he could match that. But if Benitez concedes, he's likely going to have 35, 40. Like that's pretty much it because he's just not going to face very many shots.
Yeah, I think the thing that I did a lot previously is I would figure out like which goalie to get. And then I was like, all right, who's like the best defender with this guy?
Yeah.
Which is just like the clean sheet hunting method. But like if you have Flamingo or Boskagli, it seems perfectly reasonable for you to be like, yeah, I don't want Benitez. I'll just find somebody else.
It definitely is, especially like it's a differential because a lot of people run that with Benitez.
Right.
And all of a sudden, if your goalie keeps clean sheet and Benitez doesn't, you're ahead of every stack from that team. Now, granted, obviously, if your goalie doesn't keep a clean sheet and Benitez does, you're dead for that week. But like it doesn't matter. You're looking for that upside, that like week where they concede and your goalie doesn't, and then you just beat everyone that played PSV and you're just ripping because that can happen. Also, like PSV in terms of stacking, it's not as good right now because Veerman's out. If Veerman isn't out, they're a lot better as a full stack than they were previously.
Yeah. Surfer said mostly now it's not about wasting a high A defender with a bad goalie like Kai Wagner. You don't want to Leverkusen with Grimaldo unless the rest of your goalkeepers are turds.
No, I think that's a little bit different. I think Grimaldo's a little bit different, but I do agree with Surface. I've broken Wagner from Blake a lot of the season because the thing is like if Philly's up, and leading or like having conceded, Wagner is a lot worse than once they concede or if they're trailing in a game in terms of AA production. But also, like, yeah, like I don't want to burn Wagner with a goalie that's like a 50, like mediocre shot at a clean sheet. I'll just try to play a better goalie who's just in a better situation. Whereas, like, if you're looking at Grimaldo, typically they're massive favorites and have a good chance to hold a clean sheet. That's less likely the case with Philadelphia.
But I feel like Grimaldo does fit in that category. That like
he does, and playing him separate is fine. Like you're not like, oh my god, I'm pissed I'm playing Grimaldo. But it's also, I think it's just a little bit different because the goaltending situation is a little bit different between Leverkusen as a like 3.5 goal favorite and like Philly as like a coin flip game.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at it is that like Leverkusen will just they actually don't score like a ton, but I was like, they're a 3.5 goal favorite, like they win 4-1.
Yeah,
and the 1 is what basically kills that clean sheet.
Correct.
Obviously, this is the just the defender list here, just showing like how absurd Biscaglia is. But like guys like Douglas Santos is another one, although Zenit aren't bad clean sheet wise, but like Schlotterbeck scores really well as a center back, and Kobel isn't exactly like lighting it up either.
Oh, don't even get me started on it.
He's another one.
As you know, I can't watch anything on Saturdays. Like I watch very few, if anything on Saturday or in the fall. So like 3 times in the last month, Dortmund has had just a like super great matchup on Friday, and I have a Bayern partial stack in Super Rare, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna watch them, and then I watch it and just see the dumbest shit ever, and I'm just like, I hate them. I absolutely hate them. But yeah, Dortmund just brutal for me to watch with like, and it's not even like the other. It's not like everyone's doing bad. It's that they just give up some dumbass goal, and I'm just like, I hate you.
Yeah,
they gave up some dumbass goal and it got VAR'd away on Friday, and then they gave up another dumbass goal. I was like,
Server said, in my opinion, maybe a new age for goalkeepers. The scoring requirements have changed now. Aside from Courtois, the elite goalkeepers are still great. The elite goalkeepers are still great, but not as good because having a high A goalkeeper with a clean sheet is needed for a podium. I feel like that was always the case.
That's always been the case. Yeah, I don't think anything's changed. That's just always been the case. I think people were just. I've said for years that like the goalies you want are the guys that get the AA, that can put you up 50 to 60 if they concede, and if they don't concede, they're putting up 80 to 90. It's just always been the goalie you want. Like, yes, if your goalie just keeps a clean sheet with like a 50% rate, it's just not realistic, right? Like, you're just typically not going to keep a clean sheet every other game. It's just not going to happen. And if it is, it's going to be Courtois type goalies that are going to do it. So yeah, I think that it's a situation where like those have always been the goalies you want, and they still are. It's why, like I said for the last couple of years, like Pickford has been very underrated in terms of like a Premier League goalie for the last couple of years. And the reason is because Pickford's AA is pretty good. Like they typically see quite a few shots. Yes, he doesn't keep a clean sheet, but when he does, he's probably going to put up in the 80s or put up a pretty solid game. And when he doesn't keep up a clean sheet, he's probably got a shot to put up 50, 60 points sometimes.
Yeah, I think it falls in line with forwards. It's the same thing as a forward. Like you want the high forward players, or excuse me, high AA forwards, so that when they get the decisive, you're in the 90s.
Yeah, you want the Lamine Yamals, not the Hollands, right? Like Holland gets his goal and he gets 65. Well, that doesn't really cut it. Like you want that guy that gets his. Maybe he'll score less frequently or get a decisive less frequently, but when he does, he's putting up 90 and not 65.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the key.
Jebsy said I chose Martinez away to Fulham as the keeper for the AA and not really a chance to concede 3. I love playing goalies and just being like, as long as they don't concede 3, I'm good.
That's usually a lot. If you're playing like a heavy favorite, you typically need them to keep a clean sheet. But if you're not playing a heavy favorite, it's like, just give me some AA, make some saves, and don't concede 3.
Yeah, there's let me see if I can find this. So one of my favorite goalies, I just pulled up his L15. I don't know why he missed. Anyway, L15, he has 13.9 AA in his last like L15, and I'm just like, love it.
Yep, great. Okay. If you keep a clean sheet, you're going to put up a big score.
His clean sheets were 84, 84.5, And this was 65 without a clean sheet. Sorry.
Yeah. So the key too is like if you do it, but the key is when he hits that, you left out the 97, Laird.
So the 97 was 2-2.
Was a penalty.
Saved a pen like a goat.
But like the key is right when he puts, you're not going to win every week, and that's the key regardless. Like you're just not going to win every week. But when you hit an 85 in your goalie, it's really helpful towards getting on a podium.
So are we getting to the point where you're better off not playing defender goalie stacks?
I mean, sure, like you don't have to, but I think it's also fine to play them. I don't think it's bad or good necessarily in certain situations. And I think like if you're defaulting, like the default is still to stack it, just because if the goalie keeps a clean sheet, the defender is going to have a hard time being that bad most of the time.
I have plenty of lineups that disagree, but
I'm saying like if you have your goalie keeps a clean sheet and the defender is effectively starting on 45,
yeah,
you hope that they can get 15 to 25 AA and put up a 60 to 70 point game, and you're well on your way to a chance at a podium.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. I think the tricky one is obviously you want to find goalies that make saves, and those tend to come from lesser teams.
Yeah.
But you really need them to not concede. Oh, excuse me, not concede 3. Like a 60 from a goalie is like not a killer.
Yeah. No, 63 goalie, like that's fine. The position I don't want to put up like 63 at is like my mids, my defenders, my forwards. Right. The goalie, it's like you put up 63, it's like, all right, I'm still alive. Like, we'll see.
Right. Just Mike had said, I've wasted Vardiol so many times because of Ederson. Lesson learned.
Yep.
Broen said, if you play a goalkeeper double defender stack, now with divisions and possible relegation, your stack gets smashed, and relegated is a thing to consider as well. It's not just boom or whatever on to the next, which is great.
Yeah, that is fair. The thing is, though, is like you are still trying to boom. Like
sure.
You still are trying to boom. And like I'll use Trent and Virgil as an example. Like they combine for a decisive combo goal and they keep a clean sheet and you have Allison in them, like you are well on your way to a podium. Right. So is it going to happen all the time? No. Can they get smashed? Yeah. But like, you know that they're probably going to have some opportunities where like they will put up some pretty massive scores.
Yeah.
Like it just is the case. Like, is it going to happen that often? No. But like, I mean, you see that one where it's like 90 plus, 70 plus, 60 plus, like that you're well on your way to a podium in that situation.
Yeah. And this one was Trent.
And they didn't have
the lowest score.
None of them had a decisive. Like the key is like, does Virgil get a headed goal from a Trent set? And like that can happen frequently. But like it's just it's not going to happen all the time. It's not going to happen that often even. But like 1 or 2 times a season, it probably happens. And when it does, like it can be a very good situation to be in.
Do you think 5-player stacking is more viable in single league comps or the like main comps? Like
no, definitely the single league comps, because typically in the other comps, there's like one team. The only team that I can think of that like really stacks well is PSV. That's the only team that really stacks well, fully. Where there's
well, I mean, we say that Benitez is by far the worst part.
No, but like with Veerman, like there's not a hole in that lineup where you're like, that guy kind of blows. Like City stack, you have some guys that are just not the best, and it's like whatever. So
the irony of the PSV one is that the optimal is probably double defender.
It's always double defender.
And goalkeeper is still the worst part of it.
Yeah, goalie's the worst part of that lineup every time. But it's the 2 worst parts are goalie and then De Jong. Like,
yeah.
But the other 3 are just like so good in certain situations that that's really favorable.
Yeah, like the foundation of Keith's like Bettis move was like goalie double defender because they had like a bunch of clean sheets coming up.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't happen all that often.
No, but they actually did keep clean sheets. But even then, like Keith didn't do that well with it. Like he got promoted. He didn't really win nor get much money out of it because he just didn't have the best players.
Well, he sold them all for profit along with the promotions. So
sure.
I'm not calling that a loss.
No, I didn't say it was a loss. I'm just saying you didn't like win with it.
Peter said goalie's the worst part of every lineup for me.
That's
It sounds like Peter's not playing 5 goalies in the goalie. What did they call it?
There's a reason why a lot of people don't play DFS soccer anymore, and goalie is a heavy part of that reason. Goalie's not fun. Goalie's incredibly unfun. It's miserable.
Why do you think they called a competition that had no fixed positions flying goalie?
No idea. Couldn't tell
what
you.
do we? I don't. I feel like I'm missing something with that. Blue Tomato said, "Why is the double defender better than double mid? Because of the +10 for the clean sheet."
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
We're just giving opinions. We're just giving like options of like double defender and like what it looks like. Malky just said that it's a 5-a-side terminology, Laird.
Flying goalie. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Malky. So Josh said it frustrates me seeing the full Celtic stacks and then seeing Kyogo or Maeda at forward. It's just such a waste. I, for one, love seeing those.
Direct shots at Quinny right there, I'm sure.
There's nothing I like more. Although I will say that when Kyogo, it's usually Kyogo. When Kyogo scores, I know I'm just like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Because I know those Celtic stacks are just cleaning up.
Yeah, pretty much.
RJ said flying goalies where all 5 players can go in goal at any time. How about that? How about that special weekly, Sean? You can play any players, but they only get goalie points.
That sounds fun.
Speaking of which, somebody told me, was it Steve Clark got a clearance off the line this week?
He did. Gator.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I didn't watch the game.
How does a goalie get a clearance off the line? That's literally where they are.
Game. Brona said, Hatate forward says hello. Yeah, Hatate forward's not that great of a card either.
Yeah.
So it's arguably worse of a card, like, because he still doesn't really have the upside, but he also doesn't score that frequently.
Right. And Pulse Camp got a last man tackle.
Interesting they played Pulse Camp. I wonder if they go to Pulse Camp next year.
Peter said, I think they're going to get somebody else new. Peter said, I think what makes it the worst is getting the clean sheet at the 60-minute marker. It's what causes the pain. I wish it would just get.
This is way better. It's way more stupid it's way more stupid. Nothing's worse than when you're just like there and then the game ends and all of a sudden everyone shoots ahead of you because they got a clean sheet. You'd rather know what's ahead of you than just get passed by it at the end. I would say that was one of the worst parts about it was we told them for years, we're like, look, put the clean sheet points in once you get to the 60th minute and then remove them if they concede. And they wouldn't do it. And it's like, so you're just sitting there at the end. The games are over. You're winning everything. And then boom, clean sheet goes in. And you're just dead. You lose everything.
Yep. Agreed with that. The Pulse Camp deserved the last man tackle. I actually am more willing to accept a keeper last man tackle. That's fine. It's the goal line clearance that makes no sense to me. But Rigamon said Clark had a last man tackle. So maybe that's all it is.
Well, yeah, Keith, I don't know. Keith was telling me he felt a lot more confident it would stay because it was a last man tackle, not a goal line clearance.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I was going to say something about, I forget who it was. I don't know. Passphere got a last man tackle as well. All right. Why not? Sorry, I was moving up in the chat because there was a comment and now I've since lost it. Ryan said, because the goalie is getting removed so fast from the lineup builder, it's like he's flying.
Not wrong. I'm sure she won't have a goalie in my lineup.
Yeah. No chance.
Nope. I will say so, though, what would be an interesting move on that day is like goalie 4-man defender stack and just like hope they get a couple like decisives off it and you just like print a clean sheet and just everyone smashes.
That's interesting.
It would be that good, but it would be funny.
That's interesting.
Probably the only way that it's like a realistic option.
Are we thinking that's I wonder if that will be multi-entry or not. I don't know. I was saying there's nothing worse than getting like, I have a bunch of like, if it's either like a late Liga MX game or like a J League or K League game, and I wake up and I see like a notification like so-and-so has an ongoing clean sheet and the match ended 3 hours ago or 5 hours ago and there's no follow-up to he got the clean sheet or whatever the last one is, and it was like, oh, Clearly, he didn't get it. I wonder what
Yeah.
happened. I had one of those that I think the game was still going on, and then I like pulled it up on my phone just to watch the goalie give up his third goal. So we had like the clean sheet after 60, and then got the guillotine later.
Yep.
Little Lettuce said the worst is when one of your double defenders leaves in the 59th minute. 59th minute sub should be illegal.
The best is when they're like getting subbed like right around that time, and it just depends how fast they get off the field, whether or not you get it or not.
Absolutely.
Those are always humorous.
Brown said goalies getting last man tackles are so dumb. Most of the time it's because of their own mistakes, and they're getting rewarded for losing the ball and winning it back.
That is true.
Yeah. Skate Press says, I'm a little late, but as to if stacking works, I'm currently 5th in limited with a Brentford goalie defender and then an Everton stack. Makes me happy considering I got destroyed in NFL DFS yesterday.
That's typically the way the NFL DFS goes.
For real.
I saw the scoring was like weird as fuck yesterday in NFL. I didn't play. I don't play NFL anymore.
I haven't played NFL DFS in years, and God, I feel great.
I was gonna try to play this season, like somewhat on Sundays, like small. And the first week, I just wanted to die, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that." I'm just like, by the time I get to Sunday, I just want to die, and like doing that sounds miserable to me.
Yeah, I can't believe you even considered it.
I know I did it. I did it the first week, and I wanted to die, and I was like, I'm good on that, and passed ever since.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you 5-player stack much?
A little bit. Not tons, but a little bit.
Do you do it like on purpose, or is it just like, oh, this is what I have left in this comp?
I mean, sometimes I'll do it on purpose. Sometimes it just sort of fits in. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I'll do it sometimes. Because like I will tell you also like what like a key thing against it is if the other team gets a red card, that's when you really print shit off. Because like if like a bad team gets a red card versus a good team, it's just a print fest. And everyone just like nukes their brains out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'll stack some things. Like I have a Bayern stack.
Other than Gank, by the way.
Yeah, Gank will fail anyways. But like I'll do like I have a Bayern stack. I'll run that. I have a PSV stack. Sometimes I run. I just have actually like a lot of PSV cards now at this point. And so like sometimes I'll run a stack with some of them, and then I'll run others without a stack and see how it goes, and we'll see. But also like those teams don't really have like a clear like okay, this guy's like a terrible option compared to like other spots. So it just sort of works. But yeah.
What about Neuer?
I mean, Neuer's fine if he keeps.
He seems like the replaceable one of the Bayern stack.
Well, the goalie's always the replaceable one. Larry, we've stacked that like 5 times today.
Okay, that's fair.
But like, I mean, his AA is still possibly good. I mean, he hasn't shown it this year, but like, his AA can be good. Like this week, I mean, the Bayern stack would have done really well this week if you played it correctly. Like if you ran Neuer, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, Kimmich, and Kane, you probably are on a podium or pretty close. And like that's a pretty reasonable stack that you would run with that team, right?
I was just pulling up here. This is Bundesliga Classic Limited. Neuer, a little Willy Orban, Kim Min-jae, Kimmich, and Kane.
Yeah, and like if you replace Orban with like Upamecano, you're still like right there. Yeah. So like, I mean, yeah, it could have worked. It was like right there.
I was gonna say, where do we have the 5 you just said? Did anybody do it?
Right there.
This one right here. Right?
Yeah. So like, and he's like 5 points off third or second. So like, it was very reasonable that he could have got there, like for sure.
Where did I see? Oh yeah, Davies was the call, man.
Well, Davies, yeah. If you played Neuer, Davies, Kim Min-jae, Kimmich, and Kane, you would have probably like won everything.
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe you would have won because it looked like did Orban have 100?
I would assume so at this 162.
It was 1.62, so he had 100.
My God.
I want an Orban super rare. I sold it. Yeah, this is a limited level. Like it's even better. Like go to the rare level.
60 AA.
Damn. Didn't even 7 interceptions. That does it.
Jeez.
14
to 0 duels.
That helps. Oh yeah, I've read that as interceptions. Yeah, 14-0. Wow.
Yeah, 0 interceptions. Yeah.
Crazy. Go to rare level though. Like the rare level, it was definitely would have worked.
Neuer, Schlotterbeck. There's a little Bayern.
Yeah, but like, so you could have replaced Schlotterbeck and
Here it is. Here's the Davies. Oh, Davies Upamecano, not Davies Kim and Jae.
Yeah, but like, so like, yeah, like the stack could have worked just fine. Like,
yep,
you're right up there.
That's a silly differential there.
Who was it?
Holzek, Lazic.
Probably not very good, but that just might be the only card he has, maybe.
Jack's got plenty of cards.
Yeah, that's a weird one then.
Whatever. Tom said, I'm pretty sure Orban had 100 before halftime.
Nice.
Let's see.
That's always fun.
Let's see. We can check our...
I mean, it's just whenever he scored the goal, he was probably on 100.
Let's check the... what do you call it? Player timeline here. Please hold, since we don't have it on the web yet. It's great content here. Here we go. That was clear, yeah. That's pretty much what you want to see.
Yep. It's always nice.
GG's. Christian Benteke leading Major League Soccer in goals and not even making it to the wild card is so criminal from DC United.
I mean, it's kind of the MLS.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of the MLS.
Erlin said, not to be confused with Howland, said, would you 5-stack City for the upcoming game week? Arsenal face Liverpool, so it seems like a great time for City to face a bottom 3 side.
Yeah, you can. But I mean, you're gonna have to pick which one start.
I was gonna say, who's starting?
It should be easier because it's after a Champions League game where they're gonna rotate heavily. So you should get a pretty good indication of who's gonna start.
Who they play? Oh, Southampton they have.
But yeah, it would make sense that you're gonna get a pretty good indication who starts. But like, there's always still a couple weird spots.
67% chance. So they have a higher chance of scoring 3 goals than any other team has to win.
What did Doku score this week? I know he started.
An assist, I think.
Well, I was pissed he started because I wanted him to start against Partizan. Yeah, standard.
68 minutes.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I want him to start against Partizan because that's the smash.
Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah.
And like, so now I doubt he starts there because he started, or Sparta. Sorry, Sparta, not Partizan. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Mike said Benteke was only leading because Messi played fewer than 70% of the games.
That is also. How many games did Messi play this year for Miami? It's for like in MLS
games, yeah.
He probably didn't play. Did he even play like half?
He played 19.
So they played
34.
Starts.
15 starts, 30 decisives. 20 goals, 10 assists.
It's pretty good.
Seems good to me.
I wonder how, you know what, too? Like, you know what the thing is? They just seem like they're having fun. Like, they just seem like they're having a really good time.
The Miami guys?
Yeah, like,
yeah, they are.
Suarez, Messi, they just seem like they're having a really good time. Like, yeah, they're old, but like, doesn't matter. The MLS defensive situation is just so dog shit that it doesn't really matter. He just seems like, they just seem like they're having a really good time.
Sorry, I want to update this because I forgot MLS does this. Messi had 16 assists according to Major League Soccer.
His log in MLS is ridiculous. The funny thing though is like, all right, so here his log in the MLS, like you look at this, like look at his log just in starts in the MLS this year. He's been under 80 3 times out of 15 starts. But you want to know the funniest part? It's still just Buscagli's scoreline. Because Buscagli's scoreline, and Buscagli's is done over a bigger sample. Just MLS. Like, look at this. I just looked this year. I didn't look at all. So I'd be like,
well, that let's see. It's a
couple of the shit games were last
452.
No, just hit last year because at this point, like,
because it's you're right.
Yeah,
or actually year to date.
Yeah.
It seems good. Want to guess which game I went to, Sean?
The game where he put up 33.
There it is.
NYC. I mean, you got Thiago Martins. He's shutting him down.
Shut him down.
What is his scoring for sub appearances? It's probably, I mean, he scored 100 there, 95 this weekend.
Oops.
Yeah, he's gonna come in. So yeah, I mean,
Not bad.
yeah, decent player. But yeah, I'm interested in how long he plays because he just sort of looks like he's enjoying it. Like he's just coasting. They're winning the league easily. He's just playing occasionally. Like it's not like a retirement situation, but it is. Like he's playing like
Sean. This is absolutely a retirement situation.
But like, no, like I'm wondering, like, will he give it another like 3 years? Like, is it possible he just goes like another? I think he probably plays through the 2026 World Cup. At this point, why not?
The why not? I think is I agree with that, but like maybe he just doesn't want to live in Miami for the next 2 years.
Definitely don't want to live in Miami. Why would I want to live in Miami?
I mean, you think that, but like Miami is not any more special than literally anywhere else on the planet he could live.
Well, true, but it's pretty decently up there of places he would want to live, I think.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful. I don't know if he ever has a plan to like finish playing in Argentina. Like he left Argentina a long time ago.
Yeah, so I think that someone said he did not have that plan. Or like he wasn't
to go back to Newell's. That's where he was, right?
Newell's, I think, is where he was. But like I don't know. At this point, I feel like he could just last through the end of the 2022 or at the end of the 2026 season.
Yeah. Philly Daily said if Miami's going to let him play half the matches, he could play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just sort of like he can literally just take off months of the season and it doesn't really matter.
Also, like if they just told him and announced like he's not playing Leagues Cup, that's like an entire month of a break in the middle of the season.
I think they want him playing Leagues Cup if they get far. But Leagues Cup's also in the summer when there's international shit that he just isn't going to play for.
He's not going to play.
I really think at this point he is just playing the international team, and the Inter Miami situation is to keep him fit for the international team.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, hey, that's on, and honestly, it's fine for Miami too. Like, I mean, they set the scoring, they set the point record for the MLS history with him missing half the season.
Half the season, yeah.
Like it's good for Miami too because he just like they finished 8 points ahead of anyone else in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And he missed half the season. And Suarez missed a good chunk of the season too. Like all their good players missed massive chunks of the year. And they still won league by a significant margin. They get great revenue from sales of those games, get shirt sales. When they play competitive matches, he plays and comes to play. It's honestly a pretty good situation overall.
So Blue Tomatoes brought this up. Suarez's knee isn't made for another season.
It wasn't
watching him in person. He is like the definition of a broken athlete.
Oh, yeah.
And yet he just keeps getting injections in his knee and banging out these scores.
I mean, he literally, I mean, how many goals did he have this season? Like,
20.
20. Yeah. I mean, that's wild. The last year he has 33 goals. In MLS, yeah, he had 20 goals and 9 assists. He had 30 decisives and he only played 21 starts. I mean, he just looks like he's enjoying himself. Like they really look like they're just having fun. They look like they're just playing like it looks like they retired and they're playing like a Sunday league with their friends.
Yeah. This is Suarez this in the last year in starts. Yeah, it's exactly what we all expected.
Yeah.
I think Griezmann's coming?
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume Griezmann's in the MLS next season.
Miami or LA?
LA. He seems more of like an LA guy anyways. He seems like an LA and New York City type of guy.
I was going to say, he does love New York.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like, but I think he's going to end up in LA. They already have the French connection there. He's just going to go with them. He's going to go. He's good friends with all of them.
I guess.
He's going to go to LA and he's going to play with LAFC and he's going to be with Giroud and Lloris and his boys.
I feel like those guys are closer to retirement than, but maybe.
Oh, Giroud probably still. Lloris is a fucking goalie. Like,
that's fair.
What does he need to do? Giroud's not that old, is he?
I don't know.
He's 38, but like I don't know. Like Giroud, like I mean, Kai Kamara is still bagging goals. Giroud's like a much better version of what Kai Kamara is. Although Giroud has not been good in the MLS.
No, he hasn't.
But yeah, I mean, he just hasn't been good in the MLS. He only has 1 goal.
The New York thing is the only issue is that I think the new stadium opens in 2027, and like that's when I assume they make like a huge signing.
For who? LA?
No, New York City FC.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, and I'm kind of interested to see. I wonder if the MLS is going to turn into like a league where like these BFFs go to in like towards the tail end of their career. Like, does Neymar come to the MLS in like 2 or 3 years, and like does he end up on New York City, and is he like the New York City face? Because it definitely would make sense.
That's been rumored for years, literally years.
And it makes sense. So
yeah, it's a wonderful combination of young South American players looking for like a step towards Europe, and the retirement league,
which I think is good.
It's really exciting.
I think that's a good combination. That's much better than like we brought in Pirlo with no legs.
Yeah.
Like, it's a much better situation. Also, like, the key is, like, you have to bring in these flashy guys, not, like, the Pirlos and Lampards.
And Lampard and Gerrard, yeah.
Yeah, you got to bring in
the MLS officially a trashy retirement league. Nobody's calling it trashy.
No, it's honestly a pretty enjoyable product to me.
It is kind of – I was wondering if we would see more, like, Ricky Pooch types that, like, clearly were not good enough to, like, dominate in Europe. And they were like, let me just go live in LA.
We should. We should. I don't know if we will, but we should. Like, those type of guys, like Ansu Fati, right? Like, why isn't Ansu Fati coming to MLS?
God, that's a great. How old is he now?
Like 21. I think he's on Brighton.
Like, I feel like he's he's still only 21. Like, wasn't
he's back at
Barca?
Yeah, he's back at Barca, not playing, just useless. Last time he scored a goal was like a year and a half ago. A year ago. He scored a goal against Ajax in the like Europa League with Brighton a year ago. That's the last time he's got decisive.
Red Panda saying he started this past weekend. How about that?
He did. They won 5-1 and he had 0 points of any kind.
He did have a big chance missed.
There you go.
He was in the right place at the right time.
There you go. Sean Longstaff coming to play with his brother would make sense. Fatty, go. I mean, I'm just like it makes sense. Like, Pooj is like the face of the league, and like he makes a pretty good salary playing in LA. Like, I can think of a lot worse things than that.
Mm-hmm.
Now the issue is like I just think that like a guy like that shouldn't then just go back to Europe and like rot at good Getafe or something. Like, they should just stay in the MLS and like become an 8-year MLS guy, become the face of the MLS, and like smash. Because like it's got to be fun. Like, again, like I watched the Galaxy this year. That looks like sure as shit fun to me. The style they play is a lot of fun.
For the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Galaxy are a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the only thing holding it back is probably MLS itself. But like realistically, it's the 2 LA teams, Miami, New York, and I'm not even sure New York really qualifies. And that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like when you only have 3.5 like reasonable destinations for these guys, like, is it really that much of a? Maybe they just need another team in Miami. Well, you can't really move Orlando to Miami, but maybe a second Miami team.
Yeah. Jonathan said, do you think the MLS as a league is unsustainable? No. Like, they make shitloads of money. They just don't pay
totally sustainable.
Yeah, the MLS is the most sustainable thing in the world because they just make piles and piles of money while not spending anything.
Yeah, it's like probably one of the most sustainable leagues in the world.
Yeah. It's not probably, like, it's 100% the most sustainable league in the world. Like, they have no relegation risk. They just sit there and print money while not paying anyone anything.
Yeah. I love this idea of Pogba coming.
He would make sense. He could go to LA too.
Yeah. And literally LA, or Miami.
The issue is they really need to the only way for the MLS to grow a bit more is to like expand their DP situation and their roster restrictions entirely, because like it is restrictive currently.
Miami doesn't think so.
True. Well, that's because Miami was able to curtail so much shit because of Messi. Because I think like people like Redondo and them wanted to just play with Messi. They were willing to like not take what they should.
Yeah, I guess that's a bit of a one-off.
But I really do think it should be a stepping stone league for guys to come in like Langioni and New York or New England. Like, I think guys should come from South America to the MLS as a stepping stone into Europe if they want.
Peter said Miami still has a DP slot.
That's
crazy. That's crazy.
Who's the second DP? Is it Suarez? And Alba's not a DP? And Busquets is not a DP, I assume? Or Suarez, maybe Busquets is the DP and the other two aren't.
It is Busquets
And Messi.
Messi, and apparently also Campana.
Oh yeah, Campana's a DP. Yeah. Well, I've known that, but like Campana will probably be gone, I assume, after this year.
Surely. Don't you only get 3 though? So they can't have one open.
I think you get 3 and you get a young DP spot.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, Philly Dilly said Campana. Yeah, so Campana might be a U23.
He's a young, yeah.
And he'll also be gone. Which means they can bring in another like young Argentinian kid. And to be fair, like they probably will make more than what they would make in like Argentina.
I would assume so. Yeah. Campana.
Oscar asked, is there any rule in the MLS where you have to have a certain number of Americans or U23 players? I don't think so. I could be wrong on that. They change the rules all the time, though. The MLS is like all over changing their shit. Like this season started, we didn't have the playoff format till like 6 games into the year, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the positive about the league though is that if there's a rule that like prohibits something cool from happening, they're like, oh, we should change that.
Yeah, and they do. Like that's pretty much what they did with Messi, and it's been huge for the league.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
There is an American player rule.
Oh.
Like it's not restrictive enough that we even notice.
No, yeah, it's not restrictive enough that I have any idea what it is. It's not like where Turkey's was like you had to start 3 Turkish players.
Right. Or like the Saudi ones when people were like, oh, wait, can Mendy play this game? Because they already have, The rules for all of North America. Rule is all of North America for the Canadian teams. Peter said it's basically 6 unlimited salary spots.
Carol said it's 8 Americans and 25 rosters. Yeah, so who gives a shit? Like you just have 8 Americans and it doesn't matter if they play or anything.
Yeah. The thing I dislike the most in the MLS is the 7:30.
Despise it. The fact that every game is clumped into one strict, and I get it, they do it for like actual attendance in person, but like I would like to watch the games when there are 15 games at 7:30 and then there's one at 8:30 and one at 10:30. Why?
Yeah, they used to stagger it and it was great.
They used to stagger. They used to have games in the afternoon. Used to have a Friday game. Used to have Sunday games. Like I could watch like 8 MLS games a weekend. Now I can watch like 2.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Peter's the opposite. He loves it. Oh, well. Look at us going from stacking to MLS U22 designated player rules. Just do it all here. Just do it all. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny who was here earlier. I meant to put him up on screen and I missed. So my bad, Quinny. I'll be back tomorrow with Harry Trades, I think. And thank you everybody. Get those steps in.